After the family reunion, I checked my bank account. It was empty. My brother-in-law scoffed. "We needed it more than you." I was shaking. I grabbed my bag and said, "Then you won't mind what's coming next." They laughed, but suddenly the door crashed open. "You're really upset about this?" Seth asked, leaning on the fridge, holding a beer, grinning like nothing was wrong. "Relax, we needed it more than you." I stared at my phone, hitting the refresh button on my banking app again and again, but the balance still said $487. That couldn't be right. I had over $14,000 just yesterday. 14,000, you what? My voice cracked. Sarah, sitting on the couch, sipped her wine, completely calm. She laughed. "Don't be so dramatic," she said. "It's not like we stole it. We're family. You emptied my account. It's not stealing if we're going to pay it back." Seth shrugged. "Eventually." I was speechless. I looked at Mom, knitting in her chair, not even looking up. "Mom," I said louder, "did you know about this?" She sighed like I had asked her to do a chore. "Sweetheart, you're always so sensitive. You've got a good job, no mortgage, no kids, you're fine." "So, that makes stealing okay?" "Language, Mason," Dad muttered, not looking up from his phone. I turned to Sarah. "How did you even get into my account?" "You left your info on the family computer," she said, unapologetic. "Maybe next time don't leave it open. Honestly, it's your own fault." "My own," I stopped myself, trying to control my anger. My fists clenched, and I was breathing hard. "You're making a bigger deal than it is," Seth said. "It's not like we spent it on junk. We paid rent, bought groceries, just got by. You didn't ask. We didn't think we had to," Sarah snapped. "You've been paying for stuff for years. What's the difference if it comes from you or through you?" I grabbed my bag slowly. No one moved, no one apologized, no one seemed surprised. "You're leaving already?" Mom asked. "Yep," I said, zipping up my coat, "but don't worry, I'll be in touch." "Don't be like that." Sarah rolled her eyes. "We needed it more than you. That's just facts." I reached for the door but stopped, turning back to them. "Then you won't mind what's coming next." They laughed, but outside, things were already changing. "You've always helped. That's what you're for, right?" "Hey, you okay?" My cousin Jen caught up to me as I walked to my car, fists clenched. "No," I muttered, yanking open the door. "I heard what Sarah said," she said softly. "That wasn't right." I didn't answer. If I did, I'd scream. This wasn't the first time. For years, I was the responsible one, the one with the steady job, the one who didn't need help, so they saw me as the family's bank. It started small. Sarah forgot to pay her phone bill once, I covered it. Then Seth lost his job and needed a little something. I even offered to pay for their daughter's birthday gift, except I didn't. They just expected me to. And each time, they acted like I owed them. "You're lucky, Mason," Mom would say, sweet but sharp. "You don't have the struggles your sister does. God gave you ease so you could share it. Family means supporting each other," Dad would say. "You wouldn't be here if it weren't for us." Translation, "We gave you life, now give us your paycheck." I never asked for anything, not when I was laid off for 6 months, living on rice and eggs, not when I skipped vacations for 3 years to rebuild my savings, not even when I helped pay off Sarah and Seth's credit card debt 2 years ago. They never paid me back, they never even said thank you. "You still coming to the family reunion?" Sarah had asked last week. "Yeah," I replied. "Should I bring anything?" Her answer was quick. "Just bring yourself, and your card." I thought she was joking, now I know she wasn't. 2 days after everything happened, Sarah called me. I didn't pick up. She called again, and again. Then Seth texted, "Just call her, man, she's freaking out." I finally picked up on the 5th try. "Mason," she started, her voice shaky, "we've got a problem." "Oh, we do?" "Look, don't be like that. Something happened." I stayed silent. "The power company came today. We're behind on the bill, a lot behind, and they're threatening to shut it off if we don't pay by Monday." She paused. "So we need your help." I laughed, bitterly. "You drained my savings, and now you're asking for more?" "It wasn't just for us," she snapped. "We used some of it to help Mom and Dad too. Remember Dad's car broke down last month?" "I wasn't told." "Because you always say no when it's not an emergency." "Mason," she said flatly, This isn't just messed up, it's criminal. You're being dramatic. It's family, you didn't ask me. We didn't think you'd mind. You've always helped. That's what you're for, right? There it was. That's what you're for. That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed every moment of the past 5 years. The favors, the small transfers, the way Mom always said, "You're the strong one," the way Sarah rolled her eyes if I hesitated. They never saw me as a brother, a son, a person, just a resource. 3 days later, Mom called. "We need to talk." She didn't ask how I was, she didn't ask about my job, she didn't even ask about the missing money. "We're planning a family dinner, just us, come over tonight." My stomach dropped. "What's this really about?" "Mason," she said, her voice low, "you've caused a lot of tension." I caused tension? Still, I went. Part of me wanted answers, the other part wanted to see if they'd even pretend to be sorry. They didn't. When I walked in, Sarah was already there, arms crossed. Seth sat beside her, looking bored. Mom was in the kitchen. Dad flipped through the mail like nothing had happened. "So," Sarah started as I sat down, "are we going to act like adults or what?" "Depends," I said. "You ready to confess to felony theft?" She scoffed. "God, you're so extra. It wasn't theft. It was family money. You always help. We needed it." Seth nodded. "You can spare it, so why the drama?" "I didn't give permission." "You didn't say no either." "Because I didn't know details," Sarah muttered. I turned to Mom. "And you're just okay with this?" She looked away. "We all agreed. You've always been the one who could handle it. No one even thought to ask. We trusted you." Dad chimed in. "Trusted you to do what's right." I stood up. "And what's right? Letting you steal from me while smiling to my face?" "Stop saying steal," Sarah shouted. "It was for the family." "Then you won't mind when the family deals with the consequences." "What does that mean?" Seth narrowed his eyes. I didn't answer. "Not yet. You don't get to cry now." When I stepped inside the house, everyone was already there. Mom was setting the table, clinking plates loudly. Dad sat on the couch, flipping channels like it was a normal night. Sarah stood by the window, arms folded. Seth lounged at the end of the table like he was about to watch TV, not face the consequences of draining someone's savings. "Well, look who showed up," Sarah said dryly. I dropped my bag near the door and sat down without saying anything. "Good," Seth grinned. "Maybe we can stop pretending you were robbed." "I was robbed." I sat down. Mom cleared her throat. "Mason, we know you're upset, but you have to understand, we were struggling. We didn't have any other options. Sarah and Seth, they were drowning." "And you," Dad added, "you've always been the stable one. We knew we could count on you." "You didn't ask," I said, voice cold. "You took. That's not family, that's theft." Sarah rolled her eyes. "You're being so dramatic. We didn't waste it. We used it where it mattered." "No." I reached into my bag, pulled out a printed spreadsheet, and slammed it on the table. $72 for makeup, $900 for takeout, $2,300 for your car loan. Seth didn't think I'd check. He leaned forward, face dark. "You went through our accounts?" "Oh, I did more than that." I opened my laptop. The screen lit up with a neat, color-coded breakdown of every charge and transfer. I filed a fraud report, and guess what? They got back to me. Sarah's eyes widened. "You didn't." "I did." "You called the police?" she shrieked. I turned to Mom. "Still think this is just a family thing?" "This is insane," Dad snapped. "You want to put your own sister in jail? You put yourself there." Then came the knock, 3 hard knocks on the door. Sarah went pale. Seth stood too fast. Mom gasped. Dad froze. "Open up," a voice shouted. "Financial Crimes Unit." Knock, knock, knock. Seth turned to me, voice low. "Mason, tell me you're not serious." I opened the door. 3 agents walked in, wearing jackets that said Financial Crimes Unit. One of them had a clipboard, another held a tablet, and the third was looking around the room. "Are you Mason Carver?" one of them asked. "Yes. Thank you for cooperating, we'll take it from here." Mom put her hand over her mouth. Sarah sat down in a chair, looking weak. Seth just stood there, shocked. One of the agents turned to them. "You're listed as people of interest in an open case involving financial fraud and identity theft." "Identity theft?" Mom gasped. "He's our son." The agent didn't blink. "Being family doesn't make illegal actions okay, ma'am." We didn't steal anything, Sarah shouted. We had a right to it, he always helped us. He always. Just because you think you're entitled to someone's money doesn't make it yours, another agent said calmly. Please stay seated. I just stood there and watched. For the first time, they didn't talk over me, they didn't mock me or laugh. Mom turned to me, her voice shaky and full of tears. Mason, please, we didn't mean to hurt you, we were just desperate. You've always been the strong one, you're the only one we could count on. I looked her in the eyes. You don't get to cry now. She started sobbing. Sarah couldn't speak. Seth looked like he wanted to run but stayed still, staring at the agent. You want to talk about what family is? I said, stepping forward. It's trust, it's respect, it's asking, not assuming, not stealing, not laughing while you drain my bank account. They didn't say anything. I grabbed my bag from the floor and turned to the lead agent. I'll be outside. They didn't stop me. You're free now, Mason, don't go back. I left the house in silence. No one chased me, no one called my name. For once, there was no guilt, no drama, no Sarah yelling at me with her usual, how could you? Just the cold night air and the sound of tires crunching behind me as the agents took them away, one by one. I didn't stay to watch. That night, I drove with no plan, past closed coffee shops and lit up gas stations, my phone buzzing in the passenger seat. I didn't answer a single call. I didn't want to hear excuses dressed as apologies. By midnight, I parked outside my grandmother's old house. She'd passed away a few years ago, but I still had the key. She used to say, if they ever turn on you, Mason, come here, the door will always be open. And that night, it was. I slept for 11 hours straight, no texts, no guilt, no tension like when I stayed with my family. When I woke up, I made coffee in a chipped mug and stood by the window, watching the sun rise over the fence she used to garden behind. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. But the peace didn't last long. The first email came that afternoon, from Dad. This has gone too far, you've humiliated the whole family, what happened to loyalty? I didn't reply. Then Sarah texted. I hope you're happy, they're freezing my accounts, Seth's being investigated at work, you ruined our lives over a couple of payments. A couple? Try tens of thousands of dollars, try 5 years of silent sacrifice. Then came Mom, a voicemail, her voice was soft, cracking. You didn't have to do it this way, we could have handled it like a family. Mason, sweetheart, please, they're threatening charges, they said we might lose the house. I replayed that line, they might lose the house. And suddenly, I wasn't angry, I wasn't vengeful. I just didn't care. Because I had already lost a home years ago, when they decided I was worth more as a bank account than a son. 2 days passed, then a message popped up from someone I didn't expect. Seth. Brother, we weren't close, maybe said 5 words to each other at birthdays, but his text was simple. Just so you know, Sarah's trying to shift the blame on you, says you knew and approved the money transfers, there's a lawyer involved, watch your back. I almost laughed. Even now, even with everything falling apart, she was still trying to spin it. That night, I called my lawyer. Send everything, I said, we're not just pressing charges, I want a restraining order too. But not every message was hostile. A week later, I got a short email from Kelly, Seth's sister. I know we haven't spoken in years, but I just wanted to say you were right, about all of it, about how they treat you, about how toxic it's gotten. I used to think you were just cold, now I think you were brave. I stared at her message for a long time. No one in my family had ever called me brave. One morning, my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to answer. Mason? The voice was small and rough. It was Sarah. I didn't say anything, she kept talking. Look, I know I messed up, I went too far, I didn't think it would go like this. Seth's been suspended, Mom won't stop crying, Dad won't even talk to me, and you. She paused. You always had the power to ruin everything, and you finally did. I stayed quiet for a moment, then I said flatly, I didn't ruin anything, I just stopped letting you walk all over me. Silence. Can you just stop it now? Drop the charges, please, I'll do anything, just make it stop. I almost felt bad, almost. But then I remembered what she said the night of the reunion. We needed it more than you. I smiled, bitterly. No, I said, you made this mess, now you have to live with it. And I hung up. That night, I cooked myself dinner in peace. I played my favorite album from college, sat on the porch with a cup of coffee and watched the world go by. And for the first time since I was a teenager, no one asked me for money, no one tried to make me feel guilty, no one treated me like I was only valuable if I was giving something. I wasn't their bank anymore. I was just me. And that was enough. I'm not your wallet, I'm not your backup, I'm done. It's strange how quiet peace is. No one tells you that. You think it will feel like fireworks, or loud music, or some big celebration. But for me, peace was the quiet of no one asking for money, no one calling me selfish, no one texting me with, "Since you're the only one doing well." Just silence. Beautiful, peaceful silence. 3 months have passed since I blew everything up. 3 months since the investigation started. 3 months since my family looked at me in shock as the agents walked through the door and reality hit them. They say you can't choose your family, maybe that's true. But you can choose how much of yourself you're willing to lose trying to make them happy. And I was done losing. The fallout came quickly. Sarah and Seth tried to play damage control. First, a lawyer emailed my attorney, offering to resolve the situation privately. No apology, no admission of guilt, just trying to clean up the mess. I told my lawyer to let it burn. A week later, Mom sent a 10-page letter. Her handwriting was neat but shaky in some parts. She wrote about how things got out of hand, how they never meant to hurt me, how she hoped I could see the bigger picture. "We just assumed you'd always be there," she wrote. "That's what good sons do." That line stuck with me. Because it said everything. Not "we were wrong." Not "you didn't deserve this." Just "you were supposed to stay quiet and keep giving." I didn't reply, I didn't call. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilty about it. I moved, new apartment, new state, no surprise visits from relatives, no more unexpected drop-ins from Sarah. I even changed my number. At work, my boss noticed how much more focused I was and offered me a promotion. I took it. It's funny how much better you do at work when you're not secretly dealing with your sister's car payments and your mom's overdue bills on the side. I sleep better now, I eat better, I breathe easier. Because I'm no longer carrying 4 people who refuse to say thank you. Then one morning, a letter came. No return address. Inside, a check for $1,200. And a handwritten note. I left him. "You were right, I was scared, but watching what you did gave me the courage to leave too. This is for everything you paid for, Ellie, the tablet, the rent, the clothes. I know Seth never thanked you, but I am. Thank you for showing me the way. Kelly." I read it twice, then I cried, not out of sadness or pain, but because, for the first time, someone in that family saw me, not as a bank, not as the one to blame, but as a person. People sometimes ask me, "Do you regret it?" And the answer is simple, no. I regret waiting so long. I regret all the sleepless nights, all the vacations I had to cancel, all the tight budgets while they ate out, shopped, and posted about family vibes on Instagram. I regret making myself small so they could feel big. I regret staying silent when I should have said, "You're crossing the line." But do I regret standing up for myself and burning it all down? Never. My therapist once asked, "Why did it take so long for you to say no?" I told her, "Because I thought saying no meant I didn't love them." She nodded and said, "Saying no is how you teach people to love you back." I've never forgotten that. A few days ago, I ran into someone from high school. She said, "Hey, I saw what happened with your family. That's wild." I expected judgment or pity, but instead, she smiled and said, "Good for you, most people never get out." I thanked her, then walked away, feeling a little prouder. Sarah and Seth are still under investigation. Last I heard, Seth lost his job, Sarah's bank account is frozen, Mom's trying to save the house, and Dad's blaming others for the family falling apart. They still don't get it. I didn't break anything, I just stopped pretending it was still intact. Sometimes, I get flashbacks of that night, the table, Sarah laughing while I checked my account, Seth grinning like it was a joke, Mom brushing it off. "You don't need that money," she said. And now they know the truth. That money wasn't just money, it was my life, my time, my health, my boundaries, and they crossed them for years like it didn't matter. Now they pay the price. I don't celebrate their downfall, but I celebrate myself, for surviving it, for walking away, for not going back, even when the silence felt lonely, even when guilt whispered in my ear like it used to. Because that silence, it's freedom. So if you're reading this, And you've been the strong one, the responsible one, the good son or daughter who's expected to pay and never say anything. Let me tell you what I wish someone told me. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. You're allowed to stop. You're allowed to walk away. And when you do, you don't lose a family, you find yourself.